Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Gems of Rob podcast, where two friends talk all things rock and roll. I'm DJ, and with me is my co-host DB.
Hello. So yeah, I've got a couple of news articles to start this week's podcast off. I did put a poll up on Instagram the other day, or the other week, or time, to see if people would want us to do like news things every other thing, and it seemed to be a fairly positive reaction to it. So I thought I'd just get up a few news articles to get us going with. So do you know Green Day was doing the Hella Mega Tour? So they're doing it with like Green Day, Fall Out Boy, and Weezer, I think. Mm-hmm. That massive stadium tour. Well, Fall Out Boy have pulled out of a few of the big dates on it apparently.
Oh yeah.
One of them has tested positive for COVID. Yeah, that's a kicker. I think it's been postponed. It's already been postponed once, hasn't it? And so I think it's people are waiting for it to come round free. I think it was a year
At least
put on it before it could come round again, and say, like, if you have bought tickets to that to see Fall Out Boy and find out they're not doing one of the big dates, that's going to be it.
Yeah, because you'd find something like that almost with like when you go to like a festival. In truth, there are certain bands you're almost there for, even when you've gone to even a smaller gig. Like you might have been there for actually, in truth, the support act rather than the. Yeah, that's a kick in the dick.
Especially with that one as well, like Green Day, Fall Out Boy, and Weezer. People are going to buy tickets to see their favourite band at that, and that could be it.
And to be happy with either side of it. That's
exactly,
like
yeah.
bonus,
I'm seeing Fall Out Boy with Green Day and Weezer supporting, or I'm seeing Weezer with Green Day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you'll judge it in your own form.
Exactly, yeah. They've both got massive fan bases. So, yeah, that's a bit of a shame. And, yeah, I hope they're all right. Another bit I've got is Tom Morello's announced that he's doing a album. So, Tom Morello being the guitarist for Rage Against the Machine and then Audioslave. He's an amazing guitarist. But he's doing an album. He's got Eddie Vedder featuring on it, and Bring Me the Horizon as well. He's going to have featuring on it as well, which would be quite good.
Now you have my attention.
Yeah. So just any of his guitar riffs and licks, it's like one of those, as soon as, I think we've said it before with other artists, it takes 2 minutes to listen to them and go, oh yeah, that's them. That's definitely bang on them. And yeah, there was something else that came up at the top, which can segue through. Black Sabbath are releasing I think one of their original albums, or some of their original things, or like, yeah, not remastered, but bringing out another big box set of some of their original stuff coming out. So that would be quite cool.
Well, that's pretty good going for a segue. Normally we just go like, right, stop, new conversation
yeah.
on the topic. So yeah, Black Sabbath. And like many times we often write down the front man. We're talking Sabbath, but in truth, are we talking Ozzy? Are we a bit of both?
A bit of both.
Ozzy was going to be our, he was the inspiration behind the topic, but you can't do one without the other, can you?
That's it, yeah, definitely.
Because they've definitely had their history. Like I try to do, as I always love doing my research and my statistics. Like, my God, tracking their timeline is a minefield. Fuck me. Right, so formed back in '68 in Birmingham, and if I track the amount of times Ozzy's come in and out, it is just a bloody revolving door, to say the least. At times they've had multiple band members coming in and out. To one point, I think there was a stage where they only had one band member from the original lineup.
One original left.
Yeah,
Jesus.
The guitarist. But yeah, they've definitely had a few ups and downs. Before we go into that timeline, I'll give everyone a timeline boring history lesson. Like, as it is always fun to do and near impossible to do. And I love putting you on the spot, because then you have to put me on the spot. Favourite Black Sabbath track?
See,
Or do I need to give you a top 3?
I still get confused, and I'm sure other people do as well, what's Sabbath and what's Ozzy.
Yes.
Because I keep constantly muddling those time frames up. So I did have to kind of do a little bit of research myself and go, I love that track. Is that just him, or is that Black Sabbath?
Anything done in the between 68 to 77 is their first run with Ozzy.
Yeah.
So pretty much their first few albums, which pretty much all their bigger tracks are on.
Mm-hmm. So was the question, favourite Ozzy track?
No, we'll go Sabbath first.
Favourite Sabbath track.
We'll come to Ozzy on his own later on. We'll just go for Sabbath for now.
Up until, I'd say, this last couple of months, I'd have always gone Paranoid. Mm-hmm. Because Paranoid is just a fantastic, an amazing track, and it's such a monumental song within the industry, and it's just great. And I've always loved Paranoid. Up until recently, I think it's changed to War Pigs.
That is the correct answer.
Oh, it's such a fucking good song, isn't it?
I'm going to do this to you every time I ask you a favourite song. There are correct answers.
Yes, I passed.
To these opinion-based bollocksy chats that we have, there are correct answers, and that is the correct answer.
Yeah, it is great, isn't it? It's such a fantastic song, War Pigs.
What puts it at the top for you?
I think it's the separation of each individual song. So it's got an amazing instrumental parts that kick in and the guitar riff and solo and stuff. But again, when everything it's like dun and it stops and it's just Ozzy. And it's just that vocal kick and it's so powerful and it's so... It sort of makes the hairs go up on the back of your neck kind of voice. And like that first verse that comes in, it's just him and it's... I don't know, it's something else.
I don't know about you, but for me, it doesn't feel like a long song.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't feel as long as the song actually
exactly,
is. What's it like, 6.5, 7 minutes?
It's something daft,
it's up there, isn't it?
Yeah. It's because of all the instrumental that goes through it.
It's not really telling a story, but it is just almost like episodic within the song. Like exactly. It's got episodes within the own song.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, for me, gut instinct. If you like, I was prepared for this before we recorded today. I was like, right, okay, you got 3 seconds, 3, 2, 1. War Pigs is straight away what came to me, and like a nice little story for me as a teacher. I remember showing you my school did a musical showcase.
It's so good.
And because of the event, we had to do it digitally. And fair play, Bain's music department, they absolutely and drama and the whole creative department absolutely crushed it. But I clocked one of my younger students doing a solo performance piece, which on its own is bloody frightening.
Oh yeah.
You know, but yet to have a camera in front of you and like, oh, it's absolutely awesome. She did the guitar and the singing to War Pigs.
Yeah, you showed me it. It's phenomenal.
And I'm just like, you've been raised right. That's like top pairing. If I teach that student next year, I'm shaking the hands of them. Because obviously I've met their mum and dad online. I've done online parenting, but I've not met in person. Sure. They're getting a handshake next year if I get to teach them.
Did you say you knocked on her class and pulled her out of class?
I did actually, yeah. Because I was on, this shows how hard teachers work, doesn't it? I was on a free lesson. It was the back end of a free, and the email came out. It's like, look, the creative showcase is online. It features group pieces, dance pieces. Here's a private YouTube link. Check it out. So I started watching bits, and then I got to this individual student, and I watched their performance, and it was just like, shit me, that is just, it fucking blew my mind. Like, just the quality of it, the confidence, they just gave it rock all. Yeah. They gave it absolutely fucking rock all.
Great performance, that. Yeah.
So I looked on, like, I found her name on the register, looked at what lesson she was in. She was just down the corridor in a math lesson. It was like the last 5 minutes. Like, who don't want to be pulled out of maths? Like, I was like, pulled them out of class and just like, I did embarrass them. They went a shade of beet red. And like you would as a teenager, you probably find it a bit cringy. You don't, and as Brits generally, we don't accept praise well.
No,
you know, like we're not. But yeah, credit where credit was due. So that's kind of maybe elevated it in my head a little bit. I think you're right. For me, Paranoid is number 2.
Yeah,
because I wrote down a top 3 just in case we needed a top 3. And my top
number 3 is going to be Iron Man.
Correct.
Surely.
Yeah, correct. Like Paranoid, I think is again like it's one of the comparative to War Pigs. It's a much short track, 3 minutes.
Yes.
I've got a cracking little story about Paranoid here though.
Hit me.
In my reading. So obviously Geezer Butler, the bassist of Black Sabbath and one of their primary lyricists, he does a lot of their writing.
Sure.
Quoted here in Guitar World, basically going, it was written as an afterthought.
Right.
We needed a 3-minute filler. Tony created the riff, I did the lyrics, and when we recorded it, Ozzy was reading the lyrics as he sang them.
No way.
Just like as an afterthought. That's Paranoid. Just so like the first time he's singing it, like he's just giving it a read, and it's not like Ozzy's written it. It's not like a heartfelt. Like they needed a 3-minute filler. They needed album coverage.
Yeah. So
they came up with Paranoid.
That's ridiculous.
Paranoid, which is their only number 1 single. It's their only single hit number 1. It was there for 4 weeks. It's their number 1 album. Their other album we get to it. Actually, no, it didn't go number 1. No, it's top 10. It's only top 10 single.
Sure.
Didn't go number 1. It's only top 10 single. It peaked at number 4. So it's their own. Apologies for the wrong facts. It's the only thing I'm good for on it. But it's gone platinum in Canada, Italy, quadruple platinum in America, and gold in the UK.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh no, it's fucking afterthought. Are you shitting me?
I love stuff like that though, where bands don't have the confidence in the track, or they go, oh, you know what, we get that and we didn't really like it and stuff, and then that becomes their big
blows
hit.
up.
It's like we mentioned it last week. We did Evanescence. And Evanescence didn't really want Bring Me to Life to be the first one. They wanted Going Under.
Yeah.
And then Bring Me to Life is now the song they're known for. And that's a little where they don't think it's going to do great.
But clearly, once they released it as a single, they clearly realised that it named the album.
Yes.
You know, it named their 1970 album after their self-titled one before that. So it's just like, to go platinum in the quadruple platinum in the USA. Now, obviously, they've got a bigger population base to sell more copies. Obviously, to go gold in the UK, I think it's 100,000.
Okay.
I can't remember what the actual figure is, but I think it's all over 1 million copies in America.
Yeah.
But obviously, you got
comparative in audience.
Yeah, it's massive. But yeah, it's their only top 10 hit. And for us, I think we'll always mention our love and nostalgia for playing Guitar Hero.
That's it. Yeah,
Guitar Hero 3.
I think that's what Paranoid did get that first originally, and that was that kind of. I knew the song anyway, and I quite liked. And I did learn it on actual guitar, but then it was on Guitar Hero, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool, man!"
Because isn't Children of the Grave also on Guitar Hero, or was it on a later one?
If you're going forward, Mr. Cowley's on. If you're going sticking with Ozzy, he's on one of the later ones.
Just in terms of Sabbath.
Yeah. But in terms of Sabbath,
I thought Children of the Grave was.
Oh, it might be one that I didn't have.
So Guitar Hero 3 was Legends of Rock.
Yeah.
Because I remember I had Warriors of Rock, and you didn't.
I didn't have Warriors of Rock.
I think Children of the Grave might be on Warriors of Rock, but I'd have to double check.
And then the one after that was Greatest Hits, and I got Greatest Hits. Oh, no, after that was World Tour, and then it was Warriors of Rock.
Whatever.
Anyway, we'll do an episode of Guitar Hero.
Children of the Grave, for me, just
missed out.
But yeah, War Pigs, the storytelling, I don't think I'll ever not enjoy generals gathering their masses.
It's so good.
Just like witches at black masses.
Because
obviously it was written, what do you call it when he called up to the army? National service.
Oh, not scripted.
Conscripted.
Conscripted.
Whatever. When you called up to the army, you have to do it. It'd just been stopped at the time it was being written.
Sure.
In the late 60s, but I believe Butler's brothers, 2 older brothers, had gone off to fight in Vietnam.
Right. Okay.
And gone off to fight and been signed up to fight. So it'd been written around that time where lots of young people, working class backgrounds, had been called up. So that's why it was written. That's where the inspiration for the lyrics, generals gathering their masses,
sort of like an anti-war song.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. War Pigs for me. If you had to, have you got any others that are like lesser known or one that people might not? Because I think we've named the big.
We've named the big ones. So before we started, I asked if you could play Black Sabbath by Black Sabbath. Yeah, because again, that one that I did know, but I couldn't remember. Yes. I remember bands that have their own title or have their own track named after the band or vice versa. I remember Black Sabbath, but as far as that goes, no, they've covered the main that I'd go through. Yeah, I'd go to War Pigs, Iron Man, Paranoid. Again, going back to Iron Man as well. Iron Man, it's again with Marvel kicking off the way it did. It's such a great, and I think it does play at the end of the first Iron Man movie, doesn't it? I think it's at the very first credits that you can hear the roll. And
they do a lot of AC/DC as my co-host throws his pen to the floor.
Exactly.
Yeah, lovely professionalism.
Yeah. So can stay there. But yeah, that kind of. I watched a clip recently, and it was someone putting the I Am Iron Man part of Iron Man to the.
Oh, you sent me the TikTok. Clip. Yes.
So it's when Tony himself.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
If you've not seen.
Spoiler alert if you've not seen
Endgame. But I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to protect someone that might not have seen it yet.
Fair enough. Okay, without spoiling it, the big event that Tony is part of in that movie, they add that music, and within that movie, it's not a spoiler. At one point, he's going to say, "I am Iron Man."
Yeah, that's fine.
The point where he says, "I am Iron Man," someone's added the, and it's just so good. It just works so well with that little movie clip. But yeah, Iron Man's up there as well. But no, I'm saying to you, War Pigs. War Pigs is the one.
Well, I had one that I didn't actually know, and again, I've loved doing this podcast with you, even though I'll brief 10 episodes we are. Woo, 10 episodes.
Oh shit, yeah, we should mention that up top.
Yeah, woo, episode 10.
We did it, guys.
But researching I love a good song that has a story behind it. So they've got one called Sweet Leaf.
Okay.
Now, obviously, rock bands. Probably the band that we're talking about today, essentially not invented heavy metal. You would argue, or one of the proprietors.
It's a good argument.
They're up there.
So I can get into a lot of the other bands at the time. We mentioned this in the Chuck Berry episode. There's always going to be people online go, no, it's not that. It's this.
And it started in a different country.
It started in this. It started this. It started on this track that appeared 20 years ago that no one knew because it was a B-side on it. It's like, oh, shut up. But so. A lot of bands that had music coming out at the time, when you Google who created heavy metal or who is responsible for heavy metal, there are people saying, oh, it was this song by the Beatles. I think people put Helter Skelter up there. People say, oh, Helter Skelter's the first one. Some people say, oh, no, it's this track by Pink Floyd. Or, oh, no, the Kinks invented it when they invented the original distortion sound and that kind of thing. Black Sabbath is the only name that comes up among those lists that isn't trying to experiment with their sound.
That was
Black
their sound.
Sabbath came with their metal and owned their fucking metal. I think they were the first heavy metal band to be a heavy metal band, if that makes sense. So they came in with their original album.
Well, they actually started as a polka choke blues band,
Sure, okay.
and they were called, I believe they had the name Earth.
Right.
And it was actually watching the film Black Sabbath at the cinema. They realised how people love scary movies, but didn't necessarily have scarier music. So you mentioned the title track that they named them their namesake, Black Sabbath. It is quite a creepy, almost gothic.
It's that dark,
atmospheric.
Yeah, it's like sort of doom mongering kind of that dark sort of lyrics and the guitar itself being such a minor sort of distortion. It's that kind of elements. The blueprints to heavy metal are within that. Yeah.
And for me, if I was to recommend one of their songs, and I love that you can find both of these songs, I feel like it kind of shows the evolution of all rock bands and their parlance for substances.
Sure.
Because they do have one called Snowblind.
Okay, yeah.
And they did love a little bit of the powder.
A little bit.
A little bit. Yeah. But this one's called Sweet Leaf.
Sure.
And it is a very popular song. I'm not by any means, if you heard this lesson, like, I'm pretty sure it's in their greatest hits.
Yeah,
you know
sure,
what I mean?
yeah.
But it's an absolute cracking tune. It's got like really crisp, clear lyrics from Ozzy. I know this whole point was meant to be Ozzy. I think we've gone quite heavy on the Black Sabbath. It's got like, until you took me, showed me around, my life is free now, my life is clear. I love you, sweet leaf. Though you can't hear. Like, it's almost this ode to
exactly,
weed.
Yeah.
But what I love, the story that got me like loving this, like a song I didn't know was one of theirs, and I never heard, and suddenly it's become quite almost instant favourite. Right at the start of the song, it's nothing but like someone coughing a lung up. Like, if you heard it in the modern day, you'd be making them get a lap flow test.
Sure.
But right before they recorded it, Tony, and I always guess, is the good Emomi?
I'm going to let you struggle with that.
No, it's I-O, double M, neither am I. But he took a hit of weed, but it went the wrong, proper choked him out, so he's coughing his head off. They taped that, and it becomes the beginning of the song. And it's just brilliant. It's just beautiful. This song about marijuana. What a fine vocal performance it is by But yeah, if you want like it's not their fastest, it's not their most energetic, but yeah, it's a really beautiful song.
Sure.
And again, I clearly seem to have something about songs that really it's about something that doesn't matter. It's about weed. It's a song about weed, but it's a cracking tune.
I'll definitely give it a go. I quite like that though. Quite like it was just recording when he was coughing.
Yeah, and it's part of the song. I love a cracking story like that. Yeah. Just like how I like Paranoid's a fucking afterthought. I think we need to bring it up again. But anyway, we want to go through their history because obviously Ozzy and Sabbath have a bit of a torrid history, coming and going, and one thing or another, life caught up with them, and they got solo projects. But he's left and joined the band about 4 or 5 times for various reasons. When they formed in Birmingham in '68, their first main run was from '68 to '77.
So have you got how they have started? So when Ozzy dropped out of school, he then was trying to make ends meet at like 15. So he was doing some low paid jobs, and he was like, he was then like a petty thief, and he was doing burglary and stuff like that, and he wasn't very good at it. So he got caught. He got sent to prison for a bit. When he came out of prison, he put up an ad, I think in the local newspaper or something like that, and the ad read, Ozzy Zig needs a gig, has own PA. And that was it, this little advert that was in a local paper. From that, the band got together, and that was it. That was the origins of Black Sabbath, but it was literally Ozzy himself. Ozzy Zig needs a gig, has own PA.
Well, they did their first run from '68 to '77. Obviously, that's when, in that time, they released their number 1 album, Paranoid. I obviously mentioned that already.
Sure, yeah.
He had a 1-year break, came back in '78 to '79. Just that year, just did a year.
Right, okay.
Back out again. They didn't then reunite. And again, whenever we're talking about reuniting, and it's not just Ozzy rejoining the band, essentially what I've kind of noted down is like, to a point, the original lineup getting back together.
Sure.
They actually, from '79, had a 6-year hiatus of the original lineup, without Ozzy, until they reconvened at Live Aid in '85.
God.
And again, if you read about it, apparently a few of them were like absolutely hanging out their arse.
Yeah.
Got out there in the belting sunshine, put the shades on, and belted out like 3 or 4 of their greatest tracks, and had like a cracking time.
I like that.
Then Nout till '92
Jesus, that's a bit of a fucking...
85 to 90, so another 7 years. So we've gone 6 year gap, 7 year gap. And again, the original lineup played, and I love this because I've got a few more years ahead in the farewell tour. It was it was Ozzy's farewell tour,
Yeah.
and on the final night of the farewell tour, the original lineup got together and played.
Oh, that's good.
3 years later, Ozzy went on his Retirement Sucks tour.
Sure.
So it just shows you it wasn't
Exactly,
because
yeah,
obviously in this time between from that first return in '79 and Live Aid in '85, Ozzy started doing his own solo stuff, and we'll get onto his solo stuff in a second.
Yeah, yeah.
So like part of his farewell tour, the original lineup got together. 3 years later, he went on his Retirement Sucks tour. From '97 to 2005, the original lineup played a lot together. They ended up doing a lot of Ozfests.
Sure, yeah.
So Ozzy would do a solo set, followed by an hour-long Sabbath set. With the original lineup.
That's pretty...
Could you? I couldn't imagine anything fucking like that's just like
great,
chef's
wasn't it?
kiss in it.
Exactly,
Just like,
yeah.
You know, they did headline the Ozfest tour a couple times, like in the late 2000s. Again, I've made a note here. In '99, the tour was called The Last Supper. They played again the very next year.
Of course they did. Yeah.
They then, one of their last major performances before life and health got in the way.
Sure.
They played together in 2005, 16th of November, when they got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They did reconvene back in 2011 and were set for studio, and they've done a few studio things and tried to do tours, but obviously events and life and health have kind of got in the way.
Definitely.
They obviously have released their second #1 album, considering their first came out in 1970, their second came in 2013.
Jesus.
So after reconvening in 2011, the original lineup, getting back together, hash it out, they released the album called 13.
Okay.
And that's their only other #1 album. It went gold in the UK and Austria.
Sure.
Platinum in Brazil, Canada, Germany, and Poland. So they got like if you didn't know they had clout, of course, there's the stats to fucking back it. But yeah, in out, Ozzy and Sabbath like a revolving door.
Yeah, I didn't realise it was that much. Like I knew they'd let Ozzy go, and then that's when Ozzy went and did his own stuff after he got kicked out. Because I knew after his main kick out, he would spend something like 3 months or 3 weeks in a hotel room and just didn't leave and was doing drugs every day. And apparently, again, he credits Sharon to getting him out of that, getting him out of that pit and reintroducing him to the world. And she told him she'd be his manager if he came out and did solo stuff. So then, but I didn't realise he was literally in and out and in and out.
Yeah, well, and to keep on Sabbath before, like, I know you even set me up for a nice segue into his solo. Some of the people they've had cover their asses, though. They've had Rob Halford, Judas Priest.
Yeah.
Did a couple of shows for them, but they also had Dio.
Yeah.
Dio stepped in for them. It's just like, fuck me. Like, it's like you watch some football teams and they bring off one like superstar. And, oh, look what's on the bench.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just unreal. But if we do segue into his solo stuff, again, I did struggle, not as much with Black Sabbath, what my favourites and what I'd recommend would be. But do you have a favourite Ozzy solo track?
It'd be Crazy Train. And again, it was one of those I didn't know if Crazy Train was ever Black Sabbath or was Ozzy, but just Ozzy. Crazy Train is just Ozzy. Yeah. It's definitely Crazy Train,
and it's definitely the correct answer. It's also mine.
Yes.
I feel like we need to pick an artist where we've got a bit more contention and
That's
argument. We've really been agreeing these past couple of episodes. Like, nah, you knobhead, you're wrong. I want to argue the toss with you.
It's such a that guitar riff is just something else, isn't it? It's just, and again, I'm sure you've got noticed it's used fucking everywhere. It's such a fucking...
You want something even remotely metal, rocky, something dark's happening to a character, they will use that.
It's so good.
It's just, I'm lost for words. And it's also one of those songs where, obviously one of our other favourite bands, Bullet.
I was going to say, Bullet.
I've done the cover in the around the Hand of Blood Poison time.
It was
early. And again, so it's just like, I love that he's done it, I love that they've done it, I love both.
Yeah.
Ozzy's version is still better, significantly. Well, not significantly, but it's still a good way better.
You'll never top the original. The Bullet cover is a fucking amazing cover, but that song's one of those you'll never fucking...
And for me, I put next to it, and I put Mr. Crowley.
Mr. Crowley is great. Again, I think I've got the love for it because of Guitar Hero, and I think I discovered it through Guitar Hero, and then it became a song on numerous playlists for me from then. But yeah, it's a great track, that. I quite like, is it Bark at the Moon?
Yeah.
Again, I like Bark at the Moon because I think the music video that went with it, with the sort of werewolf transformations and things like that, it was a bit weird. But yeah.
But he's got weird range. Like, he's got range, and you don't think he's got range, but man, has he got range. He fucking brings it. You know, so like, for me, Mr. Crowley, I'll get onto his other stuff in a second, but when we get onto some of his others, there's a reason why I got into Mr. Crowley. But in terms of like how he's done, 4 top 10 albums.
Sure.
So album-wise, he's outdone
Sabbath.
In terms of albums. Singles, he has actually got a number 1. He's only got one number 1 though.
Is it crazy?
Nope. It's a fucking, like, his single releases are criminal where they've charted in the UK charts, but you need to go early 2000s, so a bit late in his career.
Is it Mama, I'm Coming Home?
No, it's a duet.
Oh, is it Changes?
It's Changes.
Oh, see, I've got Changes written on my note. I remember that coming out.
Mate,
and I remember
2003.
It being, I remember it being on Kerrang. And I think I've said this before, I used to watch the music channels when I was getting from school. I remember that being on Kerrang. And I remember not really liking it.
Spinning around the video.
It's him and Kelly on the big, and it's the throne chair. and they both got their own throne.
Yeah, back to back. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. But I've listened to it again since, and it is great. It is a great track, that.
Yeah, that's their only number 1. Sorry, his only number 1. Like, I'm not even going to mention because I think it's blasphemous where his other singles have charted. It's just fucking wrong is what it is. But his albums, again, I think anyone that we discuss, I'm always going to... You just have to recognise longevity.
Yeah.
Even if you think they're shite, like, Game recognises Game when it comes to longevity. Mm-hmm. So his 4 top 10 albums, in terms of dates, go 80, 86, so fairly small range.
Yeah.
Then we jump to 2007.
Fucking hell.
Then 2020.
Jesus, there's some gaps, isn't there?
So it's 80, 86, 07, 2020. Mm-hmm. So that's Blizzard of Oz, Ultimate Sin, Black Rain, Ordinary Man, for anyone that wants to know the titles. But that's just showing...
Some fucking going, isn't it?
Like, you don't just... That's not just establishing a fan base. That's having new fans discover you and then... You like, or the parents, some way you're picking up.
Parents have introduced kids. You've picked up multiple generations to keep going that far.
And you've transcended those generations when different fads and genres and technology. Everything's become a bit more distracted. He's picked up people all the way. And for me, if I had to recommend a track that people don't know, because I remember sending this to you and Matty, one of our good friends in our chat.
Yeah.
The title track from his 2020 album, Ordinary Man.
Yes, it's so good.
The song, it's got Elton John in.
Yeah.
I'm all about Elton John as well.
All about Elton John.
Like, I dressed up as him for Halloween.
You did. I'll put a picture out.
We're both a bit follically challenged. Both can hold a tune. What a cracking ballad!
It was so good. Like, again, you had it on today, and now it's going to be stuck in my head.
It's just like a reflective piece, looking like talking about the struggles of fame, but then not wanting to let fame go. He doesn't want to not have a legacy. He doesn't want to be an ordinary man, but he didn't know this is what he was going to be when he first started, and just. Oh, if you want like the slower, more melodic ballad,
it's great.
It's
such a fucking great track.
Almost, it reminds me very much like "Mama, I'm Coming Home."
Yes,
another one
it
of
is.
His big hits, So
where you can hear his, like you said before, his range. You can really hear his voice come out, and it's really prominent. And you can really hear him hit notes, and actually, it's so good. It's such a monumental track.
You can't easily sing like him.
No,
you know what I mean? Like, I think some people think, he just kind of shouts and kind of screams at you. He's just loud. No. I think you're fucking selling him way short there. It's unreal. But probably what we've not given him the most credit for, and how we didn't mention this, he's a WWE Hall of Famer.
I didn't know that.
The man's got range. That's saying.
That's pretty fucking cool.
As of this year, he was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. They have a celebrity wing of the WWE Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Where for anyone that's made prominent appearances on the show, contributions to the show, or essentially a big lover of wrestling entertainment and is successful in another industry.
Sure. Okay.
So he was inducted in 2021, and he's actually made multiple appearances. He made his debut on WWE in '86, supporting the British Bulldogs in a tag team match.
Amazing.
He then performed live on SmackDown in 2007.
Yep.
Sharon hosted her own show in 2009 on WWE. She hosted a live show. So yeah, it's just it's unreal, absolutely unreal.
That's quite a title, isn't it, for someone that's nothing you wouldn't associate with that industry? And
he's the Prince of Darkness, man.
Yeah, Prince of Darkness.
He could fucking rip your head off. I wouldn't even want to.
No, you wouldn't, would you?
He wouldn't even want to try it. The thing is, he's going to have no pain receptors. He's going to feel no pain. Like, just bounce off. Or just have an army of fans. So he's like the general that just summons an army of people to fight for him.
Oh, yeah.
Or probably actual bats. I wouldn't put it against him.
No.
To summon creatures.
He's not well loved within the bat community, I don't think. Yeah. Again, that was one of those. I always didn't know if it was like true or like a lie or something you just hear and it's like, it's bollocks. It's like you hear like stories of rock stars and it's like, yeah, that's bollocks. That actually happened. Like someone threw an unconscious bat onto the stage. He thought it was a rubber bat, and it was only when he bit into it and bit the head off, and something in his own mind went, shouldn't be that crunchy. And it was like, you could see people at the side stage going, it's real, Jesus, it's real. And it's like, yeah, he bit the head off a live bat on stage. And I read it today as well, there was the story, again, I heard that with those bollocks, that he bit the head off 2 doves. And again, no, it actually legit happened. Like, he spoke about it. Like, he sat, it was like some like interview or meeting or something, not even like on stage. It was like some, not a corporate thing, but some meeting. And some woman was going on and on apparently. And he just went, oh, do you know what? Do you like pets? Or do you like animals? And he pulled a dove out of his pocket and bit the head off it. And just went, there you go. And he wasn't allowed back on CBS again, apparently, or something daft like that.
He's made so many TV appearances. Before I go through them all, obviously I mentioned earlier that Mr. Crowley is one of my favourite tracks. Like, I wouldn't say it's narrowly edged out by Crazy Train, but it's definitely a different type of song. It's also one of my favourites of his. A video game I don't want to go back and play, but I remember loving Brutal Legend.
So I never played it. No, not.
It came out in 2009.
It's Jack Black, isn't it?
Yeah, Jack Black. It's got Lemmy in it as well.
Oh, okay.
It's got quite a few famous actors and rockers. It's one of them. We don't want to become video game critics and change the. It got panned as a video game in some aspects because it looked like it was kind of like a hack and slash, akin to like third person, like God of War. You're third person. It's an action game. You've got an axe. You've got like your guitar is an axe. You've got a car, and the opening level's all like that. And then it kind of turns into this weird tower RTS game.
Okay.
Like real-time strategies.
Yeah.
And I remember, you know what? I had fun playing it.
I remember you enjoying it.
I enjoyed it. So it's recently come onto Games Pass, and I was tempted to download it. It was like, no, you've got this memory of enjoying it.
Yeah.
Now you've become grumpy and cynical and a miserable bastard. You're not going to enjoy it now. You enjoyed it then. Preserve the memory.
Yeah.
But anyway, he played the Guardian of Metal. He was like the guy who like helped you upgrade or new moves in your car and had a fucking go at you when you were being shit and stuff. But he's done so much voiceover work in so many different film appearances, both live action and not. Obviously, a lot of people might remember him in Little Nicky.
Yeah, I was going to say Little Nicky. Yeah.
He also appeared in Goldmember, Austin Powers.
Sure.
During the scene when it's like whenever there's like a dick or boobs in the sky and everyone's about to say the word and it flips to someone else. He appears.
He's one of them. Yeah.
You mentioned, we both mentioned Crazy Train.
Yeah.
Trolls World Tour.
Yeah, so I've not seen the film, but I remember the trailer coming out.
Quality.
And I remember the trailer coming out with her coming up from the ground
playing Crazy Train.
I was like, oh, that's pretty.
Well, I remember like when that trailer first came out, I was like, oh, you've got my attention. Way to grab me. Like, quality, entertaining film. He's also done some shite ones, but he's equally done he's done one called Romeo and Juliet. It's got Sherlock Gnome or something.
Yeah.
So he's done plenty of voice work, and obviously, if we're talking TV shows, how can we not mention the Osbournes?
See, again, I remember being in primary school and having kids stay over at my place. Like, and my parents let me have a sleepover, and they'd all gone to bed, and we were still awake, and I had a tiny little TV in my room, and like, I think I had bunk beds, so my brother must have been sleeping somewhere else, and I remember turning the TV on, and I'm like, oh, watch the Osbournes, because they swear, and that's really cool, and we put it on, and it was really shit, but obviously we were like kids,
yeah,
we like
reality telling not,
exactly,
yeah.
It wasn't what we thought it was going to be, but we were just waiting to hear the F word, because like, we were like year 5, year 6.
Well, that's it, it was on between 2002 and 2005, he actually won an Emmy, and various other awards. More recently, he actually appeared in America's version of Strictly, Dancing with the Stars.
Wow.
Man's got range, act, dance, sing. Man's a threat on all fronts.
Yeah.
More recently, I had something I might actually try and like find or stream. He did one called Ozzy and Jack's World Detour.
I've seen like, elements of that. Yeah,
it's got 3 seasons. It's IMDb said it ended in 2018, but some elements give it question marks, so they might keep it going. Basically, they go all around the world visiting historical sites and landmarks. Apparently, they're massive history nerds.
Yeah.
Both him and Ozzy, huge history. And like, I think the tagline to like the first trailer, something like, "My dad's been all over the world, but never like took the time to stop and
not seen anything."
the sites."
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just so many things. He's just so entertain. He is just an entertainer on all fronts.
Yeah,
He's
he's
just
so good.
and he just captivates you. You want to watch him. You want to listen to him. You want to. It's either him speaking or singing.
Yeah.
He is just. I can't think of many more that I
amazing.
think just epitomise rock star.
He is. He is like the Prince of Darkness. He is one of those all-time greats. He'll never be. You'll never have anyone like that caliber. I think ever again. Like you'll never.
He does a guest appearance, a few words, you're happy. It's like, oh my god, it's Ozzy!
Exactly.
Or if he's parodied, or just so often, like he's appeared in South Park, his voiced South Park characters, he's been parodied in Family, and he just TV, movie, just, my god.
It is just nice seeing him as well, because obviously he's still, I've got, I was watching a couple of videos coming up on my newsfeed for it, and there's one where it's Paul McCartney's doing an interview or doing something for a TV show, and Ozzy comes in, and the camera's on Paul, and he goes, "Oh bloody hell, you let this one in," and Ozzy comes in, and again it's a fairly recent video, and Ozzy's just like, and Ozzy's blown away by him, and like Ozzy's just like, "It's such a pleasure to meet you. I can't believe like you inspired me. You did this and did that." And Paul's like, "Ah, shut up, you girl." Like, what you? And like it probably plays him off kind of thing, but it's just like you have this idea in your head that Ozzy is the sort of top dog. No, Ozzy's not going to bow to no one. And then seeing that sort of humble side of him going, "Oh my God, you're my inspiration. You're my sort of legend." Because Ozzy still credits the Beatles to kicking him off. It's hearing "She Loves Me" as a song and going, yeah, that I want to do that. So again, that was quite a nice video to see him sort of happy and getting pictures with Paul McCartney, who was one of his inspirations. And then another video that came up recently was a bit more sort of upsetting. It was Ozzy in a recording studio, and someone had found old cuts from Blizzard of Oz, so his first solo album that he did. And he was listening to a tape up on the records, and then the record goes on for a bit, and it's Randy Rhoads, who was the guitarist on the album, and he just keeps playing, and he just plays solo stuff. Now, during the making of Blizzard of Oz, there was a plane crash. So they were on tour, and then they were at someone else's house, and then I don't know the full ins and out of it, but I know they were messing about in the plane, and apparently the pilot, who Andrew Aycock, I've got written, was apparently doing coke like all day and like however long into the night before flying this plane. And then they did a couple of flights and took it down, but then the last time they took it up and they were flying around and they were trying to get close to the tour bus as they sort of came round, and they were nosediving and sort of trying to get close to it, and then on the last one the plane wing clipped the tour bus, the wing split in half, and then the plane sort of like got severed into a tree and then crashed into this house that they were near. So it was Randy Rhoads, the pilot, Andrew Aycock, and makeup artist Rachel Youngblood, who were all on the Black Sabbath team, all died instantly on plane crash. And Randy Rhoads was the guitarist, and he was only 25. And he was about to leave that metal industry because he wanted to focus more on classical guitar playing and stuff like that. So in this video, it's like I say, it's like years and years down the line. It's in the studio, and it's Ozzy listening to guitar, like Randy playing guitar that he'd never heard before, and you could see it proper hit him, and he's just like, "I've never heard any of this." He must have just kept going after the record and just exactly. And it was quite a sort of I don't know, it was quite a
understated.
Exactly, yeah. But that was quite a moment. But yeah, like you say, just to see him about and that he is still about and he is still doing stuff. I know he's had to cancel his most recent tour, I think, hasn't he? Because he's not.
But he's been going from the 60s till now, and we kind of spoke about, it might not seem huge for a lot of people, but for us to do 10 episodes of this and people keep listening, it's like, right, episode 10 is kind of a milestone.
Yeah.
We almost wanted to honour that with
someone with the clout, someone with the kind of exactly. You wanted someone. You wanted a big name to.
And we've got so many names right now that we'd love to talk about. I hope people keep on listening, but I feel like number 10 we could only honour. Yeah, Ozzy.
He needed a big name to go with.
We needed the legend of legends, the one that sits on top of the.
Exactly. Yeah, you're not gonna get bigger than that as far as like global fame or name in the industry. It's
both sides of the Atlantic, global, just.
Absolutely massive. So yeah, he needs to go away. Everyone needs to go away and listen to some Ozzy and some Black Sabbath.
He's got slow or fast.
Yeah, whatever mood you're in, you'll find something to suit, definitely. But yeah.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Yeah, so get us on the socials. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're at gemsofrock@gmail if you want to send us a message.
Also got a YouTube channel.
We have also got a YouTube channel if you want to sit and watch a little image flash for
Well,
40
if
minutes.
you don't have Spotify or
Oh, exactly.
Apple
Yeah,
Podcasts,
yeah. You rather, I know a lot of people rather listen to podcasts
YouTube in the
on
background.
YouTube. Yeah, have it on YouTube. But yeah, again, 10 episodes. Again, really appreciate the messages and the people listening. It's mind blowing. It's really humbling. It's great. But yeah, thank you very much, guys, and we'll see you next week.
Ding dong.